Welcome in. It's Catastrophic Love. I'm Mike Bassano, and this is the first episode of a podcast that is built around the catastrophic moments of our love lives. I have so many of them because I clearly cannot keep a relationship together. I am a constant folly and a clumsy mess when it comes to relationships. So, start off with this. We are not here to help. I am not here to fix anything that you have going on.
He's here to cope.
I'm here to, that's a great point. Ganem McIntyre right here. He's our first guest, comedian all throughout Los Angeles, a very funny guy, and has one of the most epic losing your virginity stories I have ever heard. So, Ganem, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it as we are going to sift through our trauma on Catastrophic Love.
Yes, thank you for having me. I still say I'm the worst person you could have asked to do this, but that might make it more entertaining.
Wait. Why do you think that?
Because I don't look at me. I don't talk to women often. When I do, it's catastrophic. So,
well, with the sunglasses on, I feel like you got a fighting chance.
That's true. I don't know why I didn't think to take them off. But, I think it's going to add to this whole thing. This is your first episode, so this is where you make the mistakes.
Oh yeah, first episode, and as you can see by our outstanding sign, I am working with a huge budget.
Yeah, he's working with honestly, I told you said this is the lowest budget thing you've ever done.
Oh, yeah, without question.
Yeah, this is the highest budget thing I've ever done. So, I made a few short films in college that cost even less than this, so that shows you how good they are.
That sign costs $13 now. Don't mess with that.
Oh, boy.
$13
See,
sign.
in any other state, that would be about $4.
And that little C is hanging off because...
Yeah, he almost couldn't afford the last C.
Well, we're all hanging by a thread, so it works. I'm going to choose to say that instead of saying that I didn't understand how long of a word catastrophic was and had to hang the C low. I liked it. I think the way it worked out is fine.
You're an on-camera guy, though. It's not your job to know that.
I'm a bad arts and crafts person. I try. I really do.
Than
I try to be good at arts and crafts. I'm just terrible. But Ganem's here. We're going to talk about his story of losing virginity. We also have your internet sex tip of the week. A lot of things to get to. But before we get to the story, I want to talk about Threads because it's just now exploding across. Apparently, the people who were on Twitter were fired and then got picked up by Meta, and Meta's created their own Twitter called Threads.
They do Instagram, right?
Yeah, they do Instagram. So you can just connect your Instagram and all that, and I don't think I can find anyone unless it's on Threads. Like, I want my next girlfriend, my next significant other to be through Threads.
That's good for you.
You know why? Because we have to find something different.
I don't know.
Instagram's not working.
About this last night.
Well, it just started 2 days ago.
Yeah, I know. Last night I was at Flappers Comedy Club. Quick plug. That's not a plug for me, so I don't know why I said it. But they're probably going to be like, never book him again. He mentioned us on this terrible podcast.
Yeah, on this.
No, but anyways, I was talking to another comedian. He was like, have you gotten Threads yet? And I was like, no, what's that? He's like, it's going to be the next Twitter. I'm like, yeah, right. And I wake up this morning, and I'm reading all these articles about all these big companies that are on it. So, yeah, I guess it's going to be the next. I'm off all the dating apps.
See, I wish I could be off all the dating apps. That's why I have high hopes for Threads, man. I'm sick and tired of Bumble, Hinge. Oh, there's that one that they market the hell out of, but it's terrible. It's called The League.
I've never even heard of that one.
You'll see it on advertisements. They're like, start dating with a purpose or something. It's trash.
I don't know. But it's like a Twitter app, right? So, I mean, how do you meet somebody on there?
How do you meet somebody on a dating app?
That's true. Do you ever notice, this is a weird thing I've noticed. This is part of the reason why I got off. That and money. But, do you ever notice, you always get, the hottest people first?
Yeah.
Whether I'm assuming it's for women, too. You get, the 3 hottest people. Then you just get all these normies. And I think that's their way of, sucking you in.
Yeah.
So I just got out of there. I seem like such a misogynist now.
A little bit, because I will say a little bit. But at the same time, that's their marketing play. They're like, look how beautiful, and I'm sure it's the same thing for women. So I don't know that it's that misogynistic. It's shallow.
It's shallow.
I don't know that it's misogynistic because I'm sure it's the same for women.
I think you're right. They probably do the same thing. If somebody were to go, if I don't know, we have plenty of female friends. If one of our friends were to go on, they get you, and then you again, and then you a third time, and then it would just be all me for the rest of it.
Ganem, I'm sure there are plenty of women out there for you. In fact, are you in a relationship right now, or are you? What's your status?
Not at all. I am nothing right now.
Are you trying to date? Are you
No.
trying to get out there? No.
No.
Not even a little bit.
Not at all. I am completely. This is what I meant when I said I am the worst person to have on this podcast.
So find Ganem McIntyre on Threads.
I don't think I'm gonna get a thread until I know it's safe. Honestly,
What could be unsafe about it?
what could be unsafe about it? Have you seen what Twitter has done to people?
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you see what Instagram's done to people, I'm pretty sure 90% of people have some kind of eating disorder at this point.
That's true. I mean, Instagram I only use as a marketing tool.
Uh-huh.
But
Hold on, Ganem, before we go, I got to know, tell everybody, where are you from?
I'm from Manchester, New Hampshire,
Manchester, New Hampshire.
which
Very
is
nice.
basically it's just diet Boston.
Yeah. The way there's a lot of the Boston accent coming
Boston
through. I was
accent.
like,
I felt like sometimes I when I moved out here, I tried to put it on a little more.
yeah.
Just to because it could help you get parts and stuff.
Oh, for sure.
And now I'm trapped.
He's trapped in the Boston accent. Oh, man.
It's definitely more. I don't know if I notice it more because I live out here.
Oh,
Or
I'm sure that's part of it, because when you move to LA, if anybody has an accent, I don't know. I'm somebody that, like, a certain kind of accents I get very attracted to. I do. I'm just the way it is. Certain accents I get very attracted
I
to.
like British accent.
That's every girl's dream.
But not every guy's dream.
No,
That's the
not mine. I don't dislike English accents, but they don't necessarily hit the way that, like, Spanish accents do and stuff like that. Like, that stuff works really well and gets me like, oh, this is nice. The London accent is just kind of, I don't know, it's fine. It reminds me of, like, the Rolling Stones or, the British invasion every time I hear them.
You don't like being invaded?
No.
That's not a kink of yours?
No, believe it or not. For all the kinks that I have and all the little things that I have, which we'll get into, of course, throughout the duration of maybe not.
I'm sorry, Mom, in advance.
Yeah, I'm sorry too, Mom, but I didn't name the show to keep people, like, you know what I mean?
It's catastrophic.
It's catastrophic. We're here for that. And speaking of catastrophic, let's get to Ganem's virginity story.
Yeah, so he actually asked me on this podcast specifically for me to tell this story.
A little bit. Yeah.
So a little bit backstory. I just turned 25 recently, and I had that quarter life crisis where I was like, I need to be a better person.
It'll wear off. It'll wear off. You'll be all right.
But I also am I'm also a stand-up comedian. Those two don't go hand in hand.
Fair.
So I was thinking about this. I'm like, I should probably, double check my corners and stuff when I do a joke about somebody or whatever. Make sure it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure they're comfortable with it. And then you asked me to tell this story in this podcast. Well, this is a good opportunity to talk to this person I haven't talked to in years if I'm allowed to tell this story.
Yeah.
She was not thrilled that I tell this story. So she will remain nameless and will be as out of this story as we possibly can because I need this payday.
Well, I'm curious, though, because why was she upset about it? You know what? We'll get to that later because I want you to tell the story. And I feel like I could see, and when I asked the question, I'm like, he's going to say something. And by the way, try not to touch the mic too many times because I can hear it.
You can hear it?
Yeah. So yeah.
Am I touching it?
A little when you switch hands.
Oh, okay. I got what you mean.
Yeah. There we go.
It's
See?
the first episode, guys.
First episode. We're getting there.
My charisma makes up for how horrible this sounds.
You know what? I think it sounds fun. I think you're doing great.
Now I'm going to be like this the whole time.
So let's get to this story. What age were you when this happened?
We'll say I was in college.
We'll give the headline. Can I give the headline?
What's the headline?
Ganem was mugged the night that he lost his virginity.
I was mugged the night of. Not in the way you think, but in a way.
In a way. Okay, so how old were you when this happened?
We'll say I was in college.
Okay.
And it was not the safest part of town.
Mm-hmm.
And a homeless person came up and asked me for money.
And is this in Los Angeles?
This is not in Los Angeles.
Where is this?
This is on the East Coast, we'll say.
On the East Coast, okay. I'm just going to call it Boston.
We'll call it Boston.
Yeah.
It was not Boston, but we'll call it Boston.
All right.
Because it makes sense. I don't know why I said that. But first episode, guys. I will never be invited back. But yeah, so the homeless guy came up to us, asked us for money. I didn't quite give him enough, so he beat me up with a baby stroller.
Hold on. First of all, that's hilarious, just on its own. I'm sorry you got mugged, but so
I didn't even know like mugging was the way to like verbalize it till years later.
So
it was just an odd thing. I was young, so I didn't have any money on me.
So this guy walks up and he just says, "Hey, give me your money." Like, is that how he approached it?
No, he asked politely the first time.
Oh, okay. He said, "Hey, do you have any money?"
Yeah.
And then how much did you give him?
I gave him like a quarter or something.
Yeah, homeless people are different than they were when we were kids.
I don't know if he was really homeless. He was just a criminal.
Oh, he was just a guy asking for money?
Yeah, it wasn't. It was a small town, so it wasn't like super sketchy. It was something you never would expect to happen.
So he's just panhandling.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, so he's a panhandling person. He asks you for money. You give him a quarter.
It's like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Okay, so you give a man a quarter at 2 o'clock.
Wasn't enough for him. So he took his. He had like a carriage with him or something.
Yeah.
He took that and he just started beating me over the head with it.
Jesus.
And I just gave him what I had.
Now, did he just have the carriage on him?
Yeah.
Just walking around, no baby in the carriage, just walking around with the baby carriage.
Yep.
And this was not a homeless person.
I don't know. He could have been.
Yeah, I was like, it's
not as big of a problem out there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So he starts beating you with a baby carriage, which is just so odd. And then you just give him what? Do you know what you had? Do you know how much you had when you give him?
It was $20 at most.
$20,
which out there is a lot of money. Out here could maybe get you a trip to In-N-Out, or maybe you could start your own Catastrophic Love podcast.
That's very true.
That's how Mike got this money.
That is.
This is all staged.
I mugged Ganem. That's how we got here.
Now I'm carrying no cash on me.
Okay, so the girl with you, let's call her Karen. Easy,
Karen, that's
right?
a good name.
Call her Karen. Yeah. What was she doing while you guys met?
I was protecting her. We'll say that.
Well, she was obviously I don't know what she would be expected to do. You know what I mean?
I have no hard feeling. This is a great story.
Oh, of course, but
this is the best story to tell at parties.
It's one of those things where, like, yeah, she didn't help, but like, what the hell is she supposed to do? There's a man hitting another man with a baby stroller. What, like, if you're a huge person, like if you're a big person, then that makes sense. Step in and help. But if you're not,
I've done this bit for a long time now, and people always love it. But what people don't understand is I tell it slowly to get like the punchlines and the tags out of it.
Yeah.
This happened in like a minute. Like it was not it was one of those things like snap, it just happened. And I just took the beating and I was like, here, take it.
Dude.
And I never told anybody about it till it became funny for comedy. I think I told my roommate at the time, he was like, hey, I got mugged tonight. And he was like, oh yeah, that happens out here. That's a podcast for another day. He was a great roommate, but he was a fun guy. But I don't even think there are people I know in real life who don't know this story. I use it for comedy.
Interesting. Okay, so you end up you've now given him the $20. He's hit you with the baby stroller. Did he leave and did he take the baby stroller after that?
Yes, he took the baby stroller with him.
I was curious if he took the $20 to buy another baby stroller.
Maybe. I feel like a baby stroller would cost more than the $20 now that I'm thinking about it. That's but yeah, no, it was an interesting night.
All that happens, and then how does that transition from that moment to sex?
I mean, you have to understand, being a performer and stuff, you're around a bunch of cupcakes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, something like that happens, and all of a sudden you're like Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
So it's just, it kind of just took off from there.
So you guys met like in a theater?
We knew each other. Yeah, we knew each other for a while.
Okay, through like a theater class?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Okay, because we were talking about hanging out with a bunch of, what'd you call them?
Cupcakes.
So,
if you're offended by that, you're probably an actor.
Well, by the way, I have a degree in theater performance. So a little.
There you go.
A little. Yeah, I'm one of the cupcakes.
You're much less of a cupcake than some. And by the way, I love those cupcakes.
Yeah, great people.
I love the great frosting. Great. Now that sounds sexual. Just. I love them dearly, but let's call it spade to spade. They're not winning any athletic contest anytime soon.
No. Okay. So then you go and where did you guys have sex from the mugging to the sex? Was it a car? Was it?
It was a car. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, and I
The
would
sex
argue
part of this story is not weird.
No, yeah, you guys had a totally normal, and that's why I would actually argue that I have a more embarrassing losing virginity story. However, yours is much more interesting because of the mugging. Because you know what you did, you took a beating from a baby stroller. I think in that moment, if I were with somebody and they took that kind of beating and I ended up being fine, I'd be like, hey, you know what? This sounds like someone I'd like to lose my virginity to.
I don't know if it was her first time.
I just always assume it is. Mostly because I never knew when I was younger. Like, everybody would say they were when they weren't, and then other people would say they weren't when they were. You know, it was always so tough to understand at that age.
The Catholic part of me feels so guilty about this. It's just like, that's somebody's daughter.
A Northeastern. Well, she made her choices.
That's true.
Yeah, she's a human being. She's allowed to make the same choices as anyone else.
It was a good night, I mean, overall.
Oh, hell yeah, it's a good night.
Stories you tell. It was pre-COVID, so you know.
There you go.
I don't know why pre-COVID I felt to add into that.
Well, I don't know. Maybe because stories were better pre-COVID.
They were.
I feel like a lot of my better stories are before COVID. People got more closed off, more angry, all that stuff.
Everybody got more angry post-COVID.
It is weird, man. People are mad now. Like, even driving down the street, you see road rage, and it is...
I didn't have road rage because I can still talk. I didn't have road rage until I moved to Los Angeles.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know.
You do have to drive more aggressively in Los Angeles. That's a fact. Like, if you don't drive more aggressively, you're screwed.
And you can't drive well. You have to drive badly because everyone else does.
That's fair. I will say, I wonder often why more people aren't dead in Los Angeles from the driving. I wonder often. I'm like, every time I see it, I'm like, I know there's a lot of wrecks here every day. There should be 10 times more.
That's because God does exist. That's why the angels come down and protect you from the sheer stupidity.
The city of angels.
The city of angels.
Yeah, we had to name it
Satan
that.
Was an angel.
Yes, but we had to name it that because it's the only way anybody actually, survives driving here. Is the angels.
Yeah,
that's how
exactly.
I feel.
That's the angels are all around us, guys. God is always closest to where there's most sin, because that's where he's needed.
Okay, so transitioning,
I love how this just became.
Hey, why not?
Weekly Catholicism.
You brought up Catholic Catholicism.
Yeah.
We went there, but we will come back to. I'll do my virginity story, which I think is significantly more embarrassing because of what happened. So it was in high school, and I was dating this girl for a while. Call her Stephanie. And Stephanie's like, I'm on the pill, everything's fine, all that stuff. So then I show up to her parents' place, and first thing she goes is, do you have a condom? And I'm like, well, why would you... What? Like, why even tell me the other thing if it's not going to play a factor? So I got to leave. And then I got to go to the gas station and get a condom. Now, I'd never bought condoms before in my whole life. I had no idea what I was doing. So I see this black and gold package. It says Magnum XL. Looks as good as anything else. So I buy Magnums with my first condom purchase. I did not know that Magnums are built for your arm. I wasn't aware that I thought all condoms were probably relatively the same, but they weren't.
I didn't know that, so you just said it right now.
Really?
Yes.
This is news.
This is news to me.
Okay, so yeah, Magnums are specifically built to be significantly larger than all other condoms.
I gotta pick up some.
Magnum, sponsor the show. We need better equipment. The sign's perfect, though. We don't need a better sign.
Yeah, I think the sign actually adds character to it.
Right? So anyway... I get the condoms, drive back to her parents' place, and here's the thing I think girls don't understand when it comes to guys losing their virginity. It's fucking terrifying. Like, your first time you're having sex, it's a scary time. Like, it's a scary moment. I think we get so caught up in other bullshit that we don't think about the fact that, like, the actual process of doing it at least when you're me, who has tons of anxiety and stuff, like it's a scary situation.
It was horrifying.
So I walk into this girl's basement, her parents' basement.
Oh gosh, that's the worst. That's a rookie mistake. Even I've never made that mistake.
Hey man, it's high school. We didn't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah, there you go. You have a car, don't you?
You got a car. Use the car. So we are going down into her basement, and I see that not only is there a ton of candles everywhere, and the candles are burning. There's mood music on, and like the satin sheets, pretty much everything she could have ever wanted for her first time. And,
so she knew it was coming.
Well, yeah.
There was no sneak attack in this occasion.
Sneak attack. Uh-oh. Look
that
out now.
Sounds questionable. We'll cut that clip out.
Leave it in. No.
Again, I'm sorry, Mom.
But no, we'd had the discussion. Like, we'd been like in a relationship, like a significant relationship for, I think, like 5 months at that time. So we had had like the conversations about it. We were both ready. And I struggled to perform.
Okay.
It was a lot of pressure.
I get that.
Yeah. So I struggled to perform, and eventually we get it there. But then the condom's too big.
Well, I mean, if it's too big, you can still...
Bro, there are a few things that are a bigger shot to the ego.
Well, I mean, but it's safer, though, if it's too big. You're more likely to... Oh, no.
Not the sign. Anything but the sign.
Yeah, no.
No.
We just lost all our audience. The illusion, there is no man behind the curtain. Well, there is.
But no, that's the thing. When it happened, I didn't think too much about it. I was like, okay, that's not that big of a deal. We'll just keep going. But when you're also nervous, it can create softness. And then the condom just falls off midway through.
Oh, God. Not like...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Inside. Absolute catastrophe. There it
That
is.
is embarrassing.
Yeah, it is. There it is. Absolute catastrophe. So we did it again later, and it was fine. However, there weren't the music. There was no music. There was no candlelight. Like the good story of her losing her virginity didn't exist anymore. And I actually felt really bad about that. That like she had put so much time and effort, and I knew that this was probably something she'd been thinking about way before she even thought about doing it with me.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so to have that all set up, everything working for her, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, so you didn't lose your virginity.
Well, technically I did.
Kind of. It's a kind of half and half.
It is a half and half. It's a half and half.
Everybody's first is like a half and half.
And then within the next week, the second time, and then it all gets better. But that first time was terrifying, and yeah, it was about a half and half. I mean, you couldn't necessarily sit back and go, "Oh, nailed that."
How old were you?
I was in high school.
Okay, so you don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had no idea what I was doing.
Oh, okay.
I had absolutely no idea. Of course, I did have porn, so my expectations were ridiculous.
I'm just over any sort of media sex at all.
Really?
Like, I don't even like. I've become such an old man when it comes to it. I don't even like. Like I saw a movie, like a real movie last night.
What movie?
I saw Joyride. Have you heard of Joyride?
What year did it come out?
It just I saw it in the theater.
Oh, it just came out.
Brand
Okay,
new.
then I haven't seen it now.
We are sponsored by the film Joyride. Best comedy in 40 years, I was told. It was pretty funny. It wasn't
Was it
the best
good?
comedy. It was pretty funny. But there's a scene in the movie. It's not amazing, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I turned into movie critic for a second there.
Yeah. Hold on. This is now a Movie Bro podcast.
Yeah, movie bro podcast. That podcast I could be on every week.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's a scene in the movie when you see it's about a group of girls who go on a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically.
There we go.
You got the gist of it.
Group of girls goes on.
Hijinks
That sounds like a 2023 comedy to me.
Yeah, a group of girls going.
Group of girls doing anything sounds like a 2023 movie to me. Group of girls go to the store. Boom, 2023 movie.
I think that's a brilliant idea.
Put Amy Schumer in it. Sell a mill.
This wasn't Amy Schumer. It was the girl from Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, the daughter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so not Michelle Yeoh.
No, Michelle Yeoh's daughter.
Yeah.
She's not the main character, but she's one of the girls in it.
Oh, okay. I've seen the preview then. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That was my one issue with it, was they showed a lot of the funny parts in the preview.
Mm.
Everybody was like raving about it, so I went to go see it, and I was like, it was pretty funny, but like most of the funny parts were in the preview. Like, it wasn't like the old fashioned like Airplane or Caddyshack like joke per minute sort of thing.
That's something we've lost a lot of, too.
Yeah, we don't have joke per minute. Now it's more like situational.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be like they would just write as many jokes in the scene as they possibly could.
And they would deliver them really smartly, and they did that better when they had live studio audiences. Because, like, I know with Friends, the writers would just sit there, and then if a joke missed, they'd be like, fuck. And then they'd get everybody together, they'd write a new one, and then they'd do it again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is obviously movies,
yeah,
so you can't have a live studio audience.
Yeah, but it is that same kind of concept of, like, we want this many laughs per minute.
Yeah, 100%. No, because me and my roommate, we've been watching like some of these older comedies like Airplane, Caddyshack, Blazing Saddles we watched in the past like 2 weeks. And it's just amazing to see how fast they were and how they just didn't, they had none of the vanity we have today. Where they just went for it. And, like, even some of my favorite comedies, like 40-Year-Old Virgin or Superbad, like, they're much slower than those movies were.
Yeah.
And this movie was definitely a victim to that. It's pretty funny, though. You should all check it out.
However, while you're watching Joyride, you said there was a scene.
Yes, I don't know how we got
on a tangent. That's fine. I got it. We're good.
But yeah, there was a scene where one of the characters, basically you see one of the characters.
Yeah.
What's the appropriate word for it? You see her vagina. Again, sorry, Mom.
What was she doing with her?
I won't spoil it in case you see the movie.
Just
with her
know vagina.
That there is some vagina in the movie. No, you just see her vagina. You don't see. There's nothing more than that.
So there's not like sexual or anything like that. It's just
no,
like here's
she has
a
tattoo on her vagina.
Oh, okay, I got you.
See it.
So she shows a tattoo, and that made you uncomfortable.
It just seeing the vagina, I was just like, vaginas are disgusting.
What?
I don't want to see them anymore.
What are we talking about? Vaginas are the best thing in the world. What are we the hell?
No, I was just like, I just don't like staring at like naked people anymore or whatever, like on film. Which I think I always do. I do this, John.
Hold on, I want to clarify something. So, is it that the vagina is disgusting, or the vagina on film is disgusting?
I think it's the vagina on film is disgusting.
Okay, so like the media idea of just sexualized media is a thing.
Yeah, some of my favorite comedians, like Bill Burr. I think he did a bit about it where he's at the age now where like if two people have sex in a movie, he's fine if you just show there's a tie on the door, like you don't need to see anymore. Yeah, you get the idea. Like I'm kind of at that age now. Where I think
that's pretty fair for most people now. Like I haven't seen a long saucy sex scene in a long time.
It's very hard to do it well too. Like most of the time, I just find it gross. Like that movie. Like very rarely do I see a scene in the movie and I get hot and bothered. Like, do you remember they did Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes?
I mean, I saw it forever ago.
Yeah, that version of it. Like, I remember they have like a scene in a pool. Like, that was hot.
Okay,
like that, like it has to be like people who are that gorgeous.
Like Wild Things level.
Yeah, like it has to be two people that it's like, well, okay.
Wild Things, I think, is probably, if you were to go down the best sex scenes, the best erotic scenes in the history of cinema, I think Wild Things in the pool wins.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, Game of Thrones did some good stuff.
That's a good point, yeah.
But, I don't know, just sex in movies or television to me, like 9 times out of 10, just doesn't, like, do anything for me. Like, I usually think you can cut it out.
This is interesting because you bring up Game of Thrones. There is nothing more sexual in the last 10 to 15 years than Game of Thrones, and you loved Game of Thrones, despite this fear of media vagina.
Well, again, it was on when I was younger.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. Like, they just did the House of the Dragons,
mm-hmm.
and, like, there's one episode where she's, like, taking advantage of this soldier boy, the main girl. I can't think of her name right now. Is it Rhaenyra? Something like that?
No, I don't remember. I haven't watched House of the Dragon.
You haven't watched it? It's great.
I'm aware of it, but I haven't watched it yet.
But there's one scene where you're seeing her lose her virginity, and there was just something exciting about it. Like Which this sounds totally dirty because she's
No,
played by like a 20-year-old, but she's supposed to be like 14.
But you're like you're 25, she's 20. There's nothing wrong with that.
But no, like that was like one of the few times I've seen like a sexual scene in something that was actually exciting to me. Like 9 times out of 10, like I don't watch porn anymore. I just don't like seeing it on film.
Not your thing. It's not
just
your thing.
I'm over it now. Like I'm an adult now. If I want to, I can. Well, obviously I can't because I'm not in a relationship. But like it's just now that I've experienced things and stuff, the excitement factor is gone, and I just don't think. I think 9 times out of 10. How many times can I say 9 times out of 10 in this podcast?
Say it all the times you want. All the times we want.
9 times out of 10 to me, I just feel like it's unneeded, and I don't need to see it.
See, I love a really good sex scene. Now, there are some that I agree with you are just kind of shitty.
I feel like that's most of them.
Yeah, most of them are.
We're almost. I think it's gotten to the point now where we're so accepting of it
Yeah.
that anybody can do it, and it just comes off as grotesque to me most of the time.
Well, I'll say this: I recently rewatched Titanic because I was thinking about a submarine. And by the way, apparently a lot of people did that. I saw the Paramount Plus numbers, and Titanic was like huge.
I saw it in February at the Chinese.
Oh, nice when they replayed it.
Yeah, they did it. James Cameron did some like special 3D with it.
Yeah.
It was very good. It's a great movie.
Yeah, awesome.
That's a good sex scene.
That's a great sex scene. That's it. That's why I bring it
That's
up.
That's a PG-13.
A PG-13, but a very well done sex scene inside the car.
Exactly.
I mean, that is top fucking notch. So
yeah,
I do love a really good sex scene like that because
it's like anything on film. If it's done well, it's done well.
Yeah.
I just don't think it ever is. And most of the time, I think it's uncalled for. And I'm just the cranky old man. Like, why? I don't want to stare. Like I saw Road Trip, or what did we say it was?
Joyride.
Joyride. I don't know where Road Trip came from. I saw Joyride in a full theater because it was a slightly early showing.
Yeah.
Like the studio.
Did the people in the theater?
They were all laughing when this scene happened, and I out loud just went, "Oh my god!" And I put my, I sounded like such like a curmudgeon, and I like put my hand up to like cover the screen because I just didn't want to look at it.
Condom's already jaded.
I was just like, "Just get it out! Get the fuck out of here!" I think I said that out loud in the R-rated movie theater, just like, "Come on." We didn't need to see that.
That's hysterical to me.
We have done more press for Joyride.
But that's kind of what I love about this show, though. As long as it stays in somewhat in the theme of what we're doing, we can go anywhere we want to. Like, we got all our stuff we're going to discuss right there, but I love tangents. I love just going where it feels right, and I am now I got to see Joyride. I have to see.
It's a pretty funny movie. I mean, don't watch the preview because they give away too much.
All right, I won't.
But yeah, I mean, like we said, like it's not the joke per minute, but like the situations they put them in are pretty funny.
So I want to watch the movie that got Ganem to yell at the vagina on the screen.
It was such a full theater, though. I don't think anybody noticed, but I literally out loud just went, "Come on, just get out of here! It's disgusting. I don't need to see that."
Gosh, you brought up Road Trip earlier. There's a lot of nudity in Road Trip too.
Road Trip too, yeah.
Yeah, that's from like 1998.
Yeah.
Not into it.
9 times out of 10, I'm like, no, thank you.
All right, I want to get to the internet sex tip of the week. This comes to us from Cosmo.
After that.
Yeah, we're going to get into it. From Cosmo, because I think it plays very well into what you just said. Cosmo this week put out a whole thing about how to revitalize your sex life. You should do everything but have sex.
I agree with that, actually.
Here's the thing. I disagree entirely, but I want to get into that just to lay out everything for you. One of the main points was to let the hand job be the main event.
Oh, that's disgusting. Such a prude.
I thought it was ridiculous. I'm like, what the fuck? Hand job? What am I, 14? Or 18? But like,
I don't feel comfortable with anything beyond the natural.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's got all these different, the dry humping, all these things that you can do other than have any kind of penetration. And I thought, well, where's the fun in that?
I don't understand. When he said not have sex, I thought he just meant be a dork like me. Like, just do everything you can to just not, like, just make yourself as unappealing as, like, speaking of movies, this week I went to see at the El Capitan Theater. They were playing, because Disney owns it, they were playing Indiana Jones 5.
Yeah.
And they had a little museum downstairs where you can see all the artifacts, like the props from all the movies. And I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone, and she was like, the excitement in your voice when you said that is the reason you can't find a woman. Just the natural excitement of, I get to see all the artifacts from the Indiana Jones movie.
I just have a hard time believing, though, that, but first of all, good on you seeing the Indiana Jones artifacts. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. It was great. It was better than sex, guys.
Ganem likes Indiana Jones more than sex. That's a reality we're living in.
It is true. Last night at the comedy club, somebody was doing a bit about how Indiana Jones is a white supremacist, and I've never wanted to do a Will Smith more in my life.
Yeah, just go up there and
just
smack
go
the hell
smack
out of
him like you are not allowed at my comedy club.
Keep Indiana Jones's name out of your fucking mouth. That would have been epic. I wish you should have done that.
I was very angry, but the woman who was next to me was like, "Yeah, you're right. This guy's a poser."
So you've gotten to this point, and I want to know how we got here. To this point where, because now like the hand job being the main event thing, I think is the most ridiculous thing in the world. But I almost want to move on from that because of how repulsed you seem to be by all things sex, and I want to dive deeper into that. You got the sunglasses on, you're hiding, we're good. What's the?
I'm hiding. No, yeah. I think just like I've been doing this bit again. Another comedian I love, John Mulaney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, John's great.
Yeah, John. But he does this famous thing where he talks about how he was supposed to be gay, but God just forgot to flip the final switch. I think I was supposed to be asexual, but they gave me just enough testosterone to be straight.
Interesting.
Because I'm like, every time anybody brings up anything weird sexual, I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, you're Gen Z, right?
Just barely, yeah.
Okay, but this is a thing I see in Gen Z a lot.
Really?
It is. You'd be shocked the amount of men and women who are Gen Z who are more or less asexual. I think maybe you guys grew up with different media than millennials, because millennials, it was a lot of like, reality TV, everybody's fucking just to fuck. Like, it was a whole thing.
Oh, no, we had that too.
Okay.
This didn't kick into me until I was older.
Interesting. Okay.
Till I was like out of college. Like,
so how many years have you felt asexual?
Let's say the past. I don't feel asexual. That's a joke.
Okay. I'm just curious.
I'm still very much straight.
Okay. I was just curious, but you said like he forgot to flip the switch. You thought you were supposed to be asexual. When did that feeling?
No, I mean I wasn't supposed to be. That's a joke. I want everyone on camera to know that was a joke. I am not confused about this at all. Yeah, it was just in the past 2 or 3 years. I think it's just I experienced, like, I did it enough. For those of you listening, the sign fell over.
We couldn't help it.
I did it enough in my youth. Not that I did it a lot, but it's like I've been there, done that now, and like the mystique of it has gone away.
Okay.
And it's just I don't.
It is effort.
Yeah, like I just don't like the effort, like unless it's somebody that I'm really in love with. Now I really sound like Grandpa.
Ganem McIntyre, good guy.
Good guy. Something like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do want to fool around with people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like unless like I mean, I guess even if it is somebody I'm in love, I'm not interested in like anything beyond like the usual like straightforward like 15 minutes. Let's get in, let's get out, let's do it. I'm not a snuggler.
Nice.
I'm not a
15
snuggler.
minutes is fantastic.
I'm just not like I've just become like disenchanted with the whole. Like I don't. What are we talking about? I lost my train of thought.
Because you said that. First of all, it was where the asexual joke came from, the real place that it came from, but.
I'm not really. That's just
no, I know, but
obviously
it comes from a real place, though. If you're like, because you just said 15 minutes is the amount of time you're willing to put in. I mean, that wasn't a joke, right? That was honest.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, it's a transaction at this point.
It's
unless you're actually in love with the person, it's a transaction. Like, because we all, we got to be sane. We have needs. We're human beings. But there's also like, you've seen Spartacus, right?
No.
Spartacus. Well, there's the famous scene in Spartacus, I am not an animal when they put the naked woman in front of him.
Yes.
And there's still that part of me. I guess it's just being raised Catholic or being raised by two parents who were together their whole lives of like just control your instincts a little bit. Like I do a lot of like, cause we're both comedians.
Yeah.
I do. This has just turned into my therapy session.
No, that's fine. That's honestly, that's
just it's
more,
for the world to see.
No, that's more what I want this show to be anyway. Not necessarily always just for the joke. Like if we can create something compelling, have an interesting conversation, I think that's incredible.
Yeah, no, I like that, but I think just I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's just like I was just saying, like being raised by two parents who were pretty were just married their whole lives and together their whole lives. They weren't like, my dad wasn't goofing around, my mom wasn't goofing around. It was always just mom and dad, grandma, grandpa. Like everybody in my life for the most part was just together their whole time. You associated them as one entity. I just don't. Now that I've been through like the basic growing up years, I don't find myself needing to seek out
validation.
I don't need to seek out that kind of stuff. And like
I absolutely do.
Yeah, exactly. But see, like we're both.
Like, what Ganem's explaining right now is like a really happy, like good family that raised him well, and I'm sitting here like, what the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. Like, I feel guilty.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't at all.
But no, like, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I'm still a guy. I still want those things. I'm still like, we've talked outside, and I do. We're both comedians, so I'll do bits about like what I'm into and stuff like that. I don't want to make that all my comedy, but even still, like half the bits when I talk about what I'm into are about how conserved I am in that area,
and it's honest though.
But yeah, and it's grotesque, but it's honest.
Yeah, but I love that. I love that you do that, and that's an interesting thing. Now, you brought up being Catholic. I was not raised Catholic. I assume there's a good amount of shame that comes from that alone.
Well, I mean, my parents were sort of more modern Catholics.
Okay.
Like one of the main bits I do is I'm a recovering Catholic. But I'm just giving away all my material here.
Good.
So I'm going to have to be more creative.
No, they're all the setups. Now you just have to show up and pay to go to Ganem's show. Then you can hear the punchline. You're going to
see the payout. Even like the main bit I do is like kind of sexual.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen it.
Yes.
But
it's good. It's funny.
It's really
go see Ganem perform.
Yes. I will be at Flappers Comedy Club next Tuesday and Fourth Wall end of this month. Check out my Instagram.
What are the actual dates?
Flappers will be Tuesday, this Tuesday coming up.
Yeah.
Probably after this gets posted.
I was going to say, I was like, I don't know. We should get it up before Tuesday.
I was at Flappers the past Tuesday before you
We should have this up before Tuesday. We should be all right.
And I'll be at Fourth Wall Comedy, I think the 29th.
Oh, nice.
Which is a great place if you want to see good comedy kind of under the radar.
Yeah. Fourth Wall Comedy Cafe does, like every time I perform there, the crowd is great.
They do great shows.
Yeah.
And the guy who owns it, Joe Menente, you can look him up. He's
awesome,
amazing,
dude.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Awesome guy.
Honestly, one day it might be the next Comedy Store or whatever. That was a dramatic claim to make on camera. Don't take my word for that.
I'm taking your word for it 100%. From now on, Fourth Wall Comedy Cafe is the next Comedy Store. You've heard it here first. Catastrophic Love. It's happening.
Yeah, I know. If it doesn't happen, then this means nothing. If it does happen, I predicted it first.
So I do want to ask this question real quickly. Before, when you were a Catholic, did you go to Catholic school or anything?
I went to CCD. So the important thing to know, CCD is like Monday school.
Gotcha.
It's basically Sunday school just on Monday.
Got it.
But
because I was going to say CCD, and I was like, that sounds like something I should know, but I absolutely don't.
I don't even know what it stands for, honestly. Even still to this day, when it's Monday, I'm like, I got to go to CCD.
Wow, really?
It was it was something you did it was like an extracurricular thing. But that's how my parents always kind of treated it, as like an extracurricular thing.
Okay.
And they were always like, use your brain, don't listen to everything they tell you. Stuff like that. So that's why I'm a little more comfortable in like making fun of it and stuff.
That's a good thing.
Like, so yeah, like, but there is still the basic, just, I had a really good youth pastor who was very convincing, and I was very gullible. So there's still a little bit of me that's like, well, if we're operating on that logic, then technically I shouldn't be doing this, and people shouldn't be doing this. There's always that little bit of like, and that's where the whole recovering Catholic thing.
I think that's interesting. You brought up the youth pastor. Anytime anybody brings up the youth pastor, immediately I just think of all the bad things that youth pastors can do.
No, he was a very nice. I mean, He was a very nice guy.
All right, yeah.
He was a good. He wasn't a
I was like,
priest.
I didn't want to start instantly making youth pastor molestation jokes just right off the bat.
No, he wasn't. I mean, I say youth pastor. He wasn't technically a pastor. He did it voluntarily.
Oh, okay.
He was just a strict Catholic.
And my guess is there was no sexual discussion at all in those.
No,
CCDs.
we did have the basic, like,
Oh.
when you come on, when you're about to be confirmed in the Catholic Church, they have a talk with you where they just talk to you about love in the eyes of the Lord. And they do have a thing when they talk about physical love, and they make it very small, and they say it can't be all about this, which in a way is like a really good thing. When
It's
you're
a
trying to
great
study.
lesson to learn.
Yeah, it is. Like, a lot of the teachings in the Catholic Church are fine.
Yeah.
It's just the control factor of it that's
The downside.
the downside, and that's where you lead to, what you were discussing. And
Molestation.
Molestation. Yes.
It's
You
okay.
can
We
say-
can say
we're
it.
on a sex podcast. You can
Yeah, it's
say
like
it.
you can say it.
Raping. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
We're talking.
But,
Yeah, the child rape would be the concern.
I think that's also the reason why my mother was always like, "Hey, just don't listen to everything they tell you."
That's
It's
because
stuff
you
like
were because you
'Cause
were pro Spotlight, because Spotlight in Boston came out with that in like mid 2000s. I want to say.
So I was like right in the middle. I was like 1 year off of some of those kids.
Okay.
I was just behind it. I
So
think.
yeah, because then the whole view of the Catholic Church changed dramatically.
Well, yeah. I mean,
in this
like,
country. Because it used to be kind of the pillar of morality in America. Like when I was really little, that was, even if you weren't Catholic, the Catholic Church was considered the pillar of morality. And then when the Spotlight thing happened and the exposing of the Catholic Church and the molestations, then everything changed. And it feels like we're now in this new sort of redoctrinating from the government, where like we don't have a moral authority anymore in the country, so they're trying to become the moral authority.
Yeah, so that's 100%. So, like, we were talking beforehand how my degree is actually in media.
Mhm.
And one of the things I studied was the third person effect.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if this is part of the third person effect. Don't quote me on that. Do better research. But I'm trying to remember. Now it's been like 3 or 4 years. But basically, one of the things you learn is that the church used to control the way we think, basically on a mainstream level.
Yeah.
And when media, particularly television, became more of a factor,
Like
like
the
everybody
80s?
had it.
Yeah.
No, probably the 50s.
Oh, okay. So we're going even further back. Because I was thinking 80s when cable came around, but you're talking even before that.
Once the idea of televisions in people's homes,
Yeah.
and people could access different channels and they had more of a choice,
Mhm.
they predicted that eventually the Catholic Church wouldn't be the thing that made us think it would be the media. And the problem is the media is morally ambiguous, to say.
That's fair.
There's no moral high ground in the media.
Well, no, there's not like a set list of like, this is what's
Yeah, the
right
Catholic
and
Church-
this is what's wrong.
100%, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Yeah, exactly. The Catholic Church, for better or for worse, we had our top 10 to follow. And,
Our top 10. The 10 Commandments. That's good. I like that.
That's what I always say
It's our
whenever I
top
refer to
10.
it. It's the top 10. That's actually an Archie Bunker joke, I think.
Is it really?
To go way back.
That's a classic.
A classic. I think he used to say, it's in the top 10. That was a terrible Archie Bunker impersonation.
It's
but,
probably better than mine. I'll give it a
it.
shot. It's in the top 10, Edith.
Yeah, Edith, it's in the top 10. That show is great just for how much couldn't be allowed.
Oh, God.
Today.
Yeah. But literally probably 10 years after that aired, which would be, I think, the 80s, you couldn't do anything on that show.
No, it's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
it's-
why I love stuff that's outdated.
That thing has been that thing's been canceled for like 40 years.
It definitely. No, it's funny. Speaking of Indiana Jones, the second movie, The Temple of Doom,
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it in years. They just showed them all at the New Beverly because of the new one coming out.
Uh-huh.
The New Beverly is a theater in Los Angeles, for those of you. It's owned by Quentin Tarantino. They only show things on film reels. Very cool if you're in Los Angeles.
I love that theater.
I know.
It's one of
We're
my
not
favorites.
sponsored by them.
Yeah.
But if you're watching Tarantino,
It's a great.
there's
great
a
theater.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood poster right over here. So
Yeah,
he's
there
a
is.
fan.
One
if you
of
want to
my
sponsor.
favorite movies ever.
It's great.
I think it's
fantastic.
Quentin Tarantino's best, and I love Tarantino. But
Really? It's that or Pulp Fiction to me.
yeah, Pulp Fiction would be number 2, and then Reservoir Dogs and Glorious Bastards. They're all right there. But
Yeah.
as far as the film overall, I've
It's
seen Once Upon a
fantastic.
Time in Hollywood like 100 times.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love it more every time I watch it.
Now
Anyways, to go back
to get back on track. Yeah.
No, but they show it all the Indiana Jones movies on a lot of them. I lost my train of thought. They showed Temple of Doom
Oh,
the
gotcha.
second week because they did it for 1 month. It was every matinee was an Indiana Jones movie,
Mm-hmm.
And I saw them all. It was very cool to get to see them all on the big screen.
Nice.
But quick plug, New Beverly, check it out.
Hell yeah.
But
Good
when I watched Temple of Doom, I hadn't seen it in years, and from the second it started, there is not a frame of that movie that would be allowed today. And I was like, I am loving this so much.
Yes.
It's brilliant
It's
for all the wrong reasons.
It's one of those things where I think people should be smart enough to kind of separate the art from the message. You know what I mean?
I don't even know if the message is what wouldn't be allowed.
No, yeah. I mean,
he frees enslaved children. That's a good message.
That is a good message. Fair. But like the non-PC stuff, I feel like we should be smart enough as a society to be like, oh, that's not really how every person who looks like this behaves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And also, you have to remember, it's a different era.
Yeah.
And also, people are looking for non-PC now. Like, I feel like, because we live in Los Angeles, we live in, like, the PC capital of the world.
We're very much in a bubble. That's facts.
Yeah, true. And I think we've realized that most people are just actively annoyed with Los Angeles.
Fair.
Like, recently, I started, you have a theater degree. I started in theater.
Yeah.
I've been working on a play about my time that I did in retail. I did about 18 years in retail back in Manchester, just going through high school and college and stuff.
18 years?
8 years. Sorry.
8 years? I was
Did
like,
I say 18 years?
I thought you said 18 and it
Oh,
hit my
no,
ear
I meant
weird.
to
I was
say-
like, wait a minute. How old are you again?
Yeah.
8 years? All right, cool.
I'm sorry about that. I was not in retail for 18 years.
That would be impressive.
But I did like 8 years in retail.
Yeah.
I worked for a wholesale club.
Nice.
And I'm writing this play just as a funny thing to just about an abstract sort of piece about my experiences in retail. It's not really about me. It's about just the people I would meet. And I'm writing these scenes about just the things I would hear these middle-aged men say and stuff like that. And I think they're hilarious. But I also have the knowledge to know that this is going to turn some people off. Yeah. This is going to be too much for a lot of people.
What was it? Give me an example.
Let's just say they're middle-aged men in New England, which is already 20 years behind Los Angeles. So, yeah, just some of the stuff you would overhear would be hilarious. And sometimes I'll do bits about it.
Okay.
And I'll be at audiences and they die laughing, but I'll be in other audiences when people take it really seriously. And they're like, oh my gosh, people still talk like this? Like they're concerned.
Yeah.
Generally, they're having a reaction to it. But I think it's hilarious. So it's just...
It is amazing how triggered people here get over... I think that's a nice thing about doing comedy in LA is that if you can make them laugh here, because people are super sensitive and they are also like cats. I've always looked at LA audiences like cats. You go to Phoenix or somewhere like that, they're more dogs, right? They're out, they're having fun, they're enjoying themselves. Make a joke, they're gonna laugh, they're having a good time. LA are more like cats, where they come out and they're just like, impress me.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good way to put it. Actually,
yeah, they just don't want to. You have to pull it out of them.
Yeah, and they're so opinionated about everything.
Yes,
everything is. They're sensitive and opinionated about everything. That, let's face it, most of them don't know enough about to have that high of an opinion.
Oh, of course not.
Anything.
No, that's the crazy thing about this. It's what the internet did. It's what social media did. It gave people a voice who have no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
It gave really stupid people a voice.
Oh, yeah. And then they all found each other.
Yeah, I know, right? And now they're in their little groups. But, see, I'm not a smart man, but I'm smart enough to know that I'm dumb.
There you go.
So I don't have strong opinions.
Self-awareness is important. I might find some of that someday.
Yeah, no, but it's just, you're right, it's weird. And it's also like you're going back to Catastrophic Love. Like if I can't go on stage and be like, hey, I was 8 inches deep into this chick and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's considered
But that's
toxic.
That's not necessarily how we talk anymore. 10 years ago,
Have you ever had conversations with men recently?
Yeah.
Really? I mean,
usually it's not like that. Maybe it's just different in the way that I talk to them. But I can't remember the last time. Maybe when I do hear it, it just goes in one ear and out the other because I think that kind of even talking like that's a little played. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we've done that.
I've had very many bro-y conversations with guys out here. I think a lot of guys out here, because they put a face on
when
they're in public, they need to get that aggression out. So I'll be on these
Interesting.
group chats and stuff, and some of the things the guys will say, I'm like, holy crap.
Oh,
I
that's
thought
good.
I was a perv.
Oh my God, really?
And that's how I learned I was a prude. But
that is interesting. I want to get to one more thing before we get out of here with Ganem McIntyre. Check out his comedy. He's a hilarious guy, as you can tell.
I don't get any work as an actor, so check out my comedy.
Do you not get any work as an actor?
Right now we're on strike.
Right now, no one's getting work.
No one's getting work, but
and that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's not a lot we can do about it either.
No, there's nothing. You just kind of have to work and hope it goes out for the. What was that?
I think somebody slammed the door.
Yeah, somebody slammed a door underneath us
in the apartment
in our
complex.
Studio.
Yeah, in the studio.
In the studio.
That's what it is. It's definitely not an apartment. All right, I want to get to this though because I think this is just an interesting question. So we all have exes, right?
Kind of.
Yeah, okay, to an extent at least, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about this yesterday. What celebrity would you just really not want to have as your ex? Like someone who's vindictive.
Taylor Swift.
Really?
Every song she writes is about a guy who wronged her.
Yeah, that's true. And but I just think that I don't know, being with her, the amount of money
I've been doing a bit about that too.
She's carrying the U.S. economy right now. Like, did you see what Justin Trudeau did from Canada? He's begging her on the internet to bring her tour to Canada because he needs the economic boost that we're currently enjoying.
Really? Is she that? I mean, I've been doing a bit. That thing that I said was a bit I've been doing for a while. Somebody was talking about Taylor Swift, and I was like, you ever notice how she's always, like, complaining about a guy she broke up with?
Oh, yeah, that's
like, I'm starting to think
her
she's
signature.
the problem.
Oh, she's absolutely toxic.
You can't put out, like, an album with 24 songs each all about different guys that you broke up with and not be the problem.
Absolutely, she is. I'm toxic. I'm very aware of that. I'm a very toxic person, especially in relationships.
I feel like more in relationships. You're a nice guy when I talk to you.
That's fair. Okay, yeah. In like friendship interaction, I'm not that toxic. Relationship wise, though, I get toxic. And you always have your friends too that tell you like, "Oh, it's because of the people you choose. That's why it's toxic." It's like, or maybe
at least you're self-aware.
Let's entertain the idea that it could be that I'm just a psychopath, and that's okay.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're. I mean, I've never seen you. Well, I saw you with a woman recently, but I don't know.
Oh yeah. No, that's the thing. It's not. It's one of those things where I think when you're toxic, when you're in a relationship, suddenly all those stupid things that the jealousy and the insecurity and feeling like you're not good enough, all that stuff wells up in me.
I guess I haven't been in any relationships that were long enough to have noticed that in myself. I've been told I'm not toxic. I just know I'm really boring. That's what does me in every time. I'm really boring. I'm an interesting guy on the surface. Like,
you're a very interesting guy.
I have interesting opinions on things. I have interesting experiences.
But
that's all to hide the fact that I'm really fucking boring.
I'm calling bullshit because I think there are people that'll say you're boring when in reality it just means you're not toxic. Some people. Because that's how I get. When I'm with someone who's like actually normal, like a normal person, it's difficult.
Not normal.
It's a difficult thing for me. It's like there's nothing happening. Nobody's throwing anything at me. Nobody's cursing at me. I haven't been hit yet. Like what's going on? Are we just hanging out?
Yeah, but see, that's where I become boring because I don't know what to do when we're hanging out. I'm like, I don't know. You want to go for a walk?
See, that to me sounds like a pleasant time. And for whatever reason, when I get into those situations, I get bored. But it's not the person's problem. You know what I mean?
I'm the opposite, though. Like, I need to be doing something with them in order to, like, make it work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to just, like, sit down and, like, do the mundane things that I usually do with another person. Like, if I'm going to clean the kitchen, I clean it. But I don't know what to do if there's another person there. I'm like, do I divide the work? Does this go faster? What do we do now? I don't know. I'm really boring.
These are the things you're worried about? My God, I'm wondering...
Like, I'm so used to sleeping alone now. Like, if there's, like, skipping sex, like, what do I do? Like, what do we do when we're, like, laying in bed together? Like, I usually watch a show as I'm falling asleep. Like, is that going to bother the other person?
The Office is a big, The Office is always a crowd pleaser.
I know.
When it comes to the show you have to put on. But yes, that's exactly what you do.
I don't know how to do that,
to answer it shortly, it's like, yes, you just turn on the show, whatever show you were going to watch. Maybe, I don't know, there's certain shows I don't watch when I have other people. Like if I have someone in bed, I'm not going to watch
Entourage.
That's a good example. A great example.
I've just started. I'm like 3 years into it. That's one. I usually rotate between like 2 or 3 shows I'll watch till I put myself to sleep.
Let me tell you something. Johnny Drama is one of the greatest characters in the history of
that
television.
show is, like we were just talking about Hollywood, that show is weirdly spot on.
Yeah, it is. It's spot on, but it's also kind of the fantasy in a way.
It's spot on 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah. For 20 years ago, and the fantasy of like, oh, you have all this money and all this time.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you were to get noticed right away,
yes,
this is what your life would be.
Well, and they start that fucking show like 3 years into his LA journey. You know, they start that show in, and then he kind of gets through it. But I don't know. I always watch that, and I think, I mean, life's not exactly like that, but there are so many similarities that.
I think the business side, it gets spot on.
Absolutely.
The general behavior is not normally allowed and not normally easy anymore.
Yeah, 20 years ago, though.
It probably was.
Yeah, 20 years ago probably was. No, that's interesting. So you're worried about how to clean the kitchen. This is the last thing we'll get into. We'll wrap this up, but
I've revealed way too much about myself.
My brain's having trouble. No, good. This is what we want.
Again,
this is vulnerability.
Mom, nanny, aunt, whoever. I'm sorry.
Hey, we're doing all right. Things are flowing out vulnerably, and that's exactly what we want. But I gotta know, like, so.
Well, it's like I'll see
this thing about cleaning the kitchen.
I have
to watch on TV. Like those are things that. I mean, it sounds like something not a lot of people would think about. So I'm curious as to why your brain goes.
Here's the thing. I have roommates, and they are in relationships, and I see them hanging out with their significant others.
Yeah.
Who may or may not live with us. Some do, some don't.
Yeah.
And they're fine with just doing nothing, and I'm like, I don't know how to like I could do it with like one of my roommates is one of my oldest friends. I can do nothing. We can hang out. But like when I'm with a person romantically, I feel like I have to be out of the house because I thrive in that setting. That's when I'm the most interesting.
Well, you're interesting right here. Here we're sitting next to a top-notch sign.
And we're still doing a performance, you know. That's what I'm good at.
Yeah, all right. So you still view like even this, you're viewing as a performance.
This is a performance, 100%.
Interesting.
Like even still, like, well, actually, I do kind of talk like this in real life.
I was gonna say, like, I'm not seeing a lot of performance from you, but I mean, hey, if it's close to authentic, then it's a good performance. Right?
Yeah, but like again, like when I'm in those settings, that's where I thrive as an individual. At a restaurant, at a show, at a party. So like that's where I am my most. That's where I am I'm probably not my best self, but my most interesting self. When I'm in doing these mundane things, I'm just kind of a boring dude. So like, and I don't know, is that what women are looking for? Like I feel like I need to grow to that point with someone.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I think that's actually really nice. That's a good sentiment.
I'm trying not to sound like a really nice guy to get.
Well, no, I think that's
wrong expectation.
Well, no, I think that's fair. You're just being honest. I mean, you want to take time to really get to know somebody and go out there and be part of it before you let them see you. I think that's interesting. I'm sort of the opposite, where it's like, oh, I've known you for 3 weeks. Let's move in together.
No, I 2 years minimum.
See,
2 years. Like one of my roommates gave his parents just met his girlfriend.
Yeah,
and they swapped numbers, and I'm like, my mother has way too much information. Like I would never allow that to happen until it was like serious.
So last question, then we're out of here. What is it that you would be looking for anybody watching this podcast who's like, oh my God, Ganem with those sunglasses on, I just can't get enough.
I would take them off, but the headphones are on now and they're stuck.
This
is like my accent. It's, I can't escape.
So what is the person, when you look at somebody, what's the defining physical attribute that you're always looking for?
I'm pretty shallow, honestly.
Really?
Like now that I'm off all the dating apps, I don't want to date a comedian. I don't want to date somebody I work with.
Why not a comedian?
Because I'm a comedian and that could end catastrophically.
Boom. Nicely done.
Oh, hey.
Hey, he did the thing. He said the thing.
I said the thing. Again, those women know way too much information.
That's fair.
Yeah, I just want to meet somebody the way you used to meet people, really. And I usually am just attracted to hot people. I don't really have a type. People are like, are you into like, and people try to make it a race thing. I'm like, nah, I pretty much view all races equally. If you're hot, then I might come up to you.
Ganem McIntyre doesn't see color.
I don't see color. I only see looks.
All right.
I somehow made myself look like a really good guy.
So there's not,
whole thing.
there's not one specific trait at all. Because for me, it's eyes. I always look at the eyes. That is the number one thing I care about.
I'm a hair. The way you do your hair is a thing with me. Like you can tell a lot about a person by the way they do their hair.
Are you a fan of the bun? The
No.
hair?
Unless it's Princess Leia. She's the one person who's allowed to pull it off. Whenever anyone else does it, I'm like, you're just a Leia poser.
Even on her, I'm not that into it.
Really? I mean, it's not my favorite of her outfits, though. Like, I mean, I like her more like on Hoth. Like, I mean, like everything's covered up on Hoth, like we were talking about. Or even in Bespin in the Cloud City.
You've lost me entirely.
Did I get too nerdy?
I have no idea.
This is what I mean when I say I'm really boring.
When they say Princess Leia, I got that. Now you're like, there's different versions. I remember the Jabba the Hutt version.
No, see, here's the weird thing. You can tell the quality of each Star Wars trilogy by the amount of dresses the girl wears.
Interesting.
So in each trilogy, we're about to get super nerdy.
Let's do it.
In each trilogy, there's usually 3 main characters and one of them's a woman. In the original trilogy of Leia, Carrie Fisher, rest in peace. Every movie she's got about 2 outfits. That's 2 action figures you have to buy.
Yeah.
Maybe give or take a few, but she's got a reasonable amount of outfits.
You always have to keep the action figures in mind.
You got to keep them in mind because you have to purchase them.
Facts.
And then when you're a poor kid from New England, that's a big factor you have to take into account. But
Listen up, George Lucas.
Yeah. And Carrie Fisher was a comedian, and George Lucas doesn't own Star Wars anymore.
Oh, does it?
I said that way too seriously.
Oh, yeah, Disney. Right?
Disney owns Star Wars. Which
Okay.
It's about to get weird when you hear the statistic, though. But anyways, and Carrie Fisher did a bit about this. How her mother in the prequels, she has a new dress every time she walks through a door.
Yeah.
There's a new outfit. She that's too much money. That's too many action figures. That's because the prequels were overproduced. But when you get to the sequels and it's Rey has the same freaking outfit on in every single scene in all 3 of those goddamn movies. That's one action figure, but how does she smell? She never changes her outfit. Watch those movies. She is never in a different outfit in one scene of those movies. She is wearing the exact same outfit, which is why the sequels, they were kind of just, Disney was kind of oblivious the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tell the quality of each trilogy by the amount of outfits the woman wears. And that made me sound like a misogynist.
Well,
So.
I will say, if you are a Star Wars nerd out there and you really like Star Wars and you are looking for someone who has clearly done a deep dive on the wardrobe of all the women that are in Star Wars, I think Ganem McIntyre is your guy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something I noticed as the sequel trilogy was coming out. I'm like,
Yeah.
Rey has the same outfit on as every scene. Which shows you that I'm just attracted to hot women because I'm just thinking about her outfit.
That's
Or maybe I am just gay and don't know it yet.
well, we'll have you back on. We'll find out. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll find out. Los Angeles. If anything's going to teach you, it's Los Angeles.
He's Ganem McIntyre. I'm Mike Bassano. This has been Catastrophic Love, Episode 1. Thank you so much for
Hopefully
taking the
they
journey.
get better than this, guys.
I thought it was fantastic. I enjoyed it.
I hope it was entertaining for everybody. And again, I'm sorry, Mom.